Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your subscriptions, your comments and your support so far. So today we'd like to discuss parenting in the 21st century, and we have a wonderful guest to help us with this discussion.
Hi guys, my name is Linda Teegee. I'm a mom of two, 11 years and a 19-month-old. And I love being a parent. It's something that just excites me, and I'm happy to candidly speak on it today.
So for most, especially the young mothers, we've had so many questions about parenting, about the exposure that our kids are having, sexuality, and the questions are too much, and I think we can address as much as we can. Especially, I would like us to, because of how busy the parents are, I would like us to discuss on how to still love your kids and give them utmost affection despite our busy schedules. And also during this stressful time because of COVID. So most parents are stressed, so we do not forget that our kids are still growing. The other topic that I think it's very important is sexuality. Most parents are afraid because you see, most of the countries are already legalizing, same-sex marriages, and we are Africans, and kusema ukweli, we are not too open-minded about it. And also how to introduce sex to your preteens and all that.
So maybe we could just start with, we could give a few tips on how to speak to your children, to give the sex talk. A lot of parents just wonder how to start, and let me give an example with my son. Some years ago there was a report in the newspaper that stated that children, young boys as young as 9 years old are now sexually active, and I remember by then my son was around 8. And it was just that point where you read about talking to your children, but you need to actually do it. So going to the internet and just finding out what's the best way to do it is what I did. And a lot of blogs stated that you just need to practice. You need to practice. If you're uncomfortable, the language you're going to use, and especially in our curriculum, the Kenyan curriculum, they are taught in schools at standard 6. Standard 6, that is when they're taught by, and I feel that is a good time to have that conversation since the teacher has already started it off. So it's easy to now encourage the child on let's now talk about it at a personal level, not just reading it in books. And I would like to say that it was just an interesting talk because I did the question thing. Like, for me, I was decided that I'm going to be as honest as I can. Because with parenting nowadays, it's very crazy to think of how you were parented and you'd want to parent. But it's ironic because some of us never really had that talk with our parents.
We never had that.
You didn't, right?
Yeah.
So we just need to learn parenting in the 21st century in our own style and in our own way. So number 1 is practice. Number 2 is be honest. You can even tell them, I'm embarrassed to have this talk with you, but we need to have it as much as it's embarrassing. And it's all about just encourage curiosity. Let them ask the questions. Like, from what you've learned, what questions do you have? Ni maswali gani unaweza taka kujua?
And that way you get to know what they know.
Exactly. And you get to know where to start.
So my question is there a certain age? Because, for example, there are girls who are as young as 9.
Yeah.
they have their menses. So how is it too late, too early? Because I know that is a question most moms ask. When should you start to talk about it? Because my son is 6, so the much I've done is the private parts talk.
Yes.
Nobody should touch you.
Yes.
Private. So that I think that's as much as I should right now. But when is the right time? Isikuwe umeanza kumwambia vitu mapema, you start piquing their curiosity too early.
There is never a right time as such, but I would say since each of us individually know our children, you know when they're what they're watching and what they have been exposed to so far, you'd use your parental wisdom to know when to start. But I would really advise that from the age of 9. From the age of 9, it makes a lot of sense to start a conversation. Yes, and for the girls, starting the menstrual talk begins now to just culminate into a sex talk, and it makes it easier for it to flow. I feel like it's harder to talk to boys. I don't know. Because the girls, she'll come to you, she'll ask about the sanitary towels. So at least you have, you can tell them, now you see, you'll have, you'll start growing, you'll start having these. Boys will start looking at you, you can have that conversation. But for a boy, I think it's a bit uncomfortable. I don't know. For boys, the tricky part is that a lot of us will really leave it to chance on we won't hit the nail on the head. Tunataka tu kwanza. Lakini boys naweza sema, what we watch in the TVs, the girls being all naked and being what the media is portraying is a good start to have with the boys, because let them have chokoza, like hey, your dance, unafikiriaje about your dance, and then like I remember my son asking, kwa nini wana dance uchi? Like almost it was just, the media is really putting everything out there. And this is a generation that is actually the most sexually saturated in terms of what they're receiving. What they're internalizing. It's the most sexually saturated things. Growing up, we never used to see what we see on TV now.
And even if you found watching something like that, you already feel guilty, you feel it's wrong.
Yes. So right now, the media has put the bar at a very early age. If you don't check your child at an early age, it might be too late. And now that's a whole conversation. Don't wait for it to get there. It's better too early than too late.
Samaki mkunje.
So age,
yes. Still on sexuality, I am really interested in the same-sex relationships. I don't know. I know it's very sensitive to. How do you prepare? Because this is specifically for the parents, not even for the kids. Yes. How do you psychologically prepare yourself for such?
Same sex right now is about ask what they think. Ask what they think about it, because in real sense, almost every series or every movie right now is having a gay scene, a lesbian scene, and they're really trying to push the agenda and normalize it. So let the child get their opinion. Like if you happen to be watching something and it comes up, it start by letting, because a lot of time I remember that being from a faith, a particular faith, we tend
Christian
to come we tend to come with like, hey, this is very bad and this is
evil.
But you're not first understanding what's the understanding of this child before anything else, because you start the foundation from what they already know, and then now you can move around it, because in this world, however much you may hate it, it's a reality that these people are in our environment and they are part of us. These children are going to grow with these people around them. They are going to be their friends, they are going to be their family. So it won't make sense to say, these people
be blind to it.
Exactly. So I feel that we need to just let that's why it's good to know your kids, because you're able to know how to maneuver through it. As much as it's difficult, see the end goal that you need to inculcate. That's our role as parents. That's our main role. Teach. So what you teach them, and I think with sex it's tricky because you can't ask about lesbianism if you have not had a sex talk.
Yeah, you have to have the sex talk.
You need to first have the sex talk so that the different types of now what comes with sex can now be understood. But it's bits and pieces, small
but
bits and pieces.
I think the parents need more, is it therapy or counseling more than the kids? I think so. I think the problem, personally, I think the problem is with us parents. It's a tough topic for us more than for them. For them,
for
their kids, yeah.
But there's a lot of internet stuff. With my 11-year-old, there are things I'll send him to watch on YouTube so that he understands. Like now, we are doing the goal setting and doing like vision board. I prefer it to come from, you give him the knowledge through somebody else. There are several YouTube channels that people have that are already talking to the children. So you can tell them, watch this and then we'll discuss. So let them watch it. A lot of work will be done for you because the words you use, the emotions you have, so many things. Children pick from everything we are, how you look at them when you're telling them, how your tone when you're saying it. So if you're not able to be confident enough, and a lot of us have esteem issues, so if you have esteem issues, it will show when you're discussing such topics. So sometimes it's better to give someone else the job. Or just take them for counseling, for sure. Counseling now is very available, and it would be nice to just tell them, I want you to go and speak to this lady for 1 hour, and then from then you can now have
that. You've already opened the portals to have that discussion.
Sure.
True.
Sure.
So we can go to the next topic of affection, which I think is very important. You know, sometimes when you know how Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, how much bile we have there, and you'll see someone who's very bitter, utaona ameambiwa na mtu hapo, you are not hugged enough as a kid. And we say it as a joke or nika ni kukabisha mtu. But I take it seriously, because if someone was not hugged enough, loved enough as a kid, it will show how they treat people later. So I think it's something we should discuss.
I feel that each parent listening today needs to go and check out the developmental stages. Developmental stages help you understand the phases of growth from from 0 to 2 years. So that's homework. Please just try and once you understand that, you're able to have a flow with the life of your child.
Actually, I think it's very important. I don't know why it's only taught in specific courses. I think it's something that should be taught as a
every
basic,
mother, like
or parent. I think it's basic, so that between stage 0 and 2, they are going through this, and if they don't go through this, it will show this in their lives. I think it's a very important topic. Kama tutaita nini? A lesson.
Just like people are taught when you go for the
antenatal
clinics, that should be done during that time. It's very essential. So just do your homework and find out about Erik Erikson's stages of development. So with what you just asked, love languages, because every child has a different love language, and we are lucky enough to have people who've done research and who've done a lot of homework regarding the growth of children. So we have a book that is called The 5 Love Languages for Kids, and it's something that every parent needs to understand, that one of your children may love to be hugged, like you were telling me about your son.
My firstborn, affirmation and hugs. 100% he will hug me a million times to a level he has. It's like sasa naona, am I hugging her too much? So he asks, Mom, can I hug you? Can I hug you? I think he wants to hug me every 3 minutes.
Exactly. And if we look at it from a parent's perspective, who like, kwa nini unashinda ukinihug? Hata elewa kwa nini, lakini hiyo ndio inaongelesha huyo mtoto unampenda. Na kuna watoto wanataka, let me just go through the 5 types and then you can see where your child is. Love languages for kids. The first one is words of affirmation. Tell them you love them daily. Daily. It's the least you can do. There's a quote I read that you can never spoil a child enough with love. You can never. You know, the people say that, hey, huyu mtoto umempenda sana, no, it's never enough for kids. Tell them how proud you are of them regularly. For these children who love affirmations, find reasons to congratulate them and encourage them. Just find the little things. And then try to avoid harmful words and tones with them.
You know, so such words,
They'll only hurt with kids, it hurts their soul. It's not just, for grown-ups, it will hurt, but it won't really internalize. But for kids, it goes all the way in. And those small things, you know, the little, what you think is little, congratulate it and let them know that they're doing a good job. And your congratulations should be more than your criticism. Exactly. We also have kids. The other love language is touch. For a healthy child, you need to hug them 8 times a day. For a child below the age of 6, you need to hug them 8 times a day.
A minimum.
Look at how many times we at least have
the
physical contact. Physical contact with the child. Let them touch you too. Like, you need to just, it's a basic need for them.
I'm seeing my kids in those,
holding their hands while walking, snuggling to read together, and you know, show them that you're enjoying it. Don't make it look like a job. Don't make it look like, okay, fine, what all we need to hug you. Come, 1, 2, like 8 times. We are done for today. The kids who love touch, just ensure there is physical touch for them. Quality time is the 3rd love language. There are children who want to spend time with you.
Just around. You're doing your house chores, anakushikashika tu akipita.
Tafuta something tu, mtafanya pamoja. Kama ni kupika, cook with them there. Kama ni on a movie, on and now. A lot of times we don't even know what our kids are watching, honestly.
But there's something I've created. I started, is it a culture? Before we watch any movies first. Cartoons zao zikikuja, I watch first.
Before.
Yeah, even my husband knows we have to go through that first. I have to approve, like,
for sure.
Mom certified. Then I watch with the boys.
Yes.
I see how they, now you know the 6-year-old is very vocal, so nitasikia vile atasema, maswali yenye atauliza, so I ensure that I watch the cartoons with them. All of the cartoons.
Sure. That's a necessity in this time where things are really bad in terms of content and what is being thrown out there. The other day, my daughter, she's 19 months, she was watching, and then it comes a Halloween cartoon.
Spooky.
And we were like, oh my goodness, this is not even content that should be
for kids.
It was just really,
it's too much.
Yes. So we need to be hands-on, because either way, when everything goes wrong, it's back to us. It's back to us as parents.
Because I think 80% of what I watch are cartoons. I only have an hour in the evening or 2 to watch whatever I want, but the rest of the day I'm just watching cartoons with them.
Gifts. Language number 4, gifts. And gifts doesn't mean you need to come with something every day while you're leaving, when you're coming from town. Or gifts means those simple things that you may let them not take for granted like buying them clothes,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Buy them a small top and give rewards for good behavior. And that way with kids who love gifts, kama unamgift juu amepanguza meza, they will clean that table without
Without you
complaining,
asking,
without
yeah.
even you asking, because they know that, hey, mommy is going to gift me something because I've done this.
Yeah.
Yes. So with kids, that's where we are at. That with loving our children, there are 5 love languages for children, but as well, there are 5 love languages for couples.
Yeah, they sound a lot like for adults. I didn't know they are the same for kids.
Yes, the same person who wrote the adult ones is the same person who wrote the kids ones,
yeah.
but now relating it to them, because if, like for example, what's your love language?
I think words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. And I'm sure that didn't start when you're a grown-up. That started when you were younger.
Yeah, I think when I was younger.
That's why it makes sense for the kids and for the grown-ups. Only that now you narrow it to their understanding of what a gift is. You know, to you a gift is something different from what a child refers to as a gift. So it's interesting to now see like service. Service is when they clean their room, or when you clean their room, they're like, oh my gosh, mom loves me so much. And when you help them with your homework, teaching them something new, volunteering together, those are acts of service. And there are some kids who that is, hey,
You communicate love by that.
so we need to know each child, mtoto wako love language yake ni gani? Is it an act of service? Is it gifts? Is it words of affirmation? Is it
Service.
so do the homework. It's available, and we'll leave a link on the book itself. So yeah, it's something every parent needs to familiarize with so that you understand your child as an individual. Unajua tulilelewa like
Hey. Wholesale.
so sahi 21st
Because ni
century
watoto, ni girls or ni boys.
21st century things are different, very different.
Or a pointer for parents who are wondering, how do you know this is the love language for your kids? I'll give an example for me, because I think that's the best way for me to give a pointer. For my firstborn, I know it's words of affirmation and touch, the hugs.
Yes.
Because he will ask for it, and he will ask, Mom, nimenyoloa poa. I'm telling you, when he has a new haircut, he'll ask that for the next 3 days. Initially, I was like, kwani simwambi enough ndo anauliza, but I realized, no, that's what he wants, and hiyo ndo inamfanya ana feel poa. So I learned, oh, these are his words languages. So hiyo kuchoka, kama vile unasema, sometimes as parents, you're not okay. You're going through something, and this boy is all over you. He wants to hug you.
Yeah.
But you remember that this child is looking up to you and nobody else.
For sure.
So for the younger one, I am not so sure, but I think for him it's touch. But now he's a bit, he's a boy, yani kijana kabisa. So he'll be all over you, but I notice he loves that. Like hata kama atakuwa na kuharas, but he loves the touch, because eventually when he wants to sleep, after amekuharas, he's jumped up, he'll come and snuggle up next to you. So I think that's his love language. So for parents, it's not so hard. You'll realize, ukiletea mtoto gift, kuna mtoto analetea viatu, hata waiva hiyo kiatu in the next 2 months, hana. But kuna ule mwatalala na hiyo kiatu. So utajua gifting
Really
is his way.
appreciating.
Yeah.
With watoto ni kukaa nao ili wajue.
Don't be strangers
Lakini
to your kids. Yeah.
honestly, tukiangalia sahi kila mtu ako job, kila mtu ni hustle. So you rarely have the time to know your child very well to that level. So ni kazi kwetu.
True.
So yeah.
And something I like pointing out mostly to young parents, we have something we call these formative stages, between stages. Okay, some philosophers will say 0 to 6,
yeah.
but you can stretch it a bit to around 8, 9, 8. But if you have a kid who's below 6 years and you feel like, hey, labda nimechelewa, I've not been doing these things, it's not too late. You can try and catch up, not really catch up, but still there's time. And if you already have a teenager and you feel like, gosh, I've not done these things, you can still have this conversation and try to be a friend. Don't be a stranger to this kid. It's not all gone. There's still time to still bring, because sisi vile tulikuwa brought up, most were not friends to their parents. Ilikuwa mzazi ni mzazi, wewe ni mtoto.
What I say is what goes. You're living under my roof, you live by my rules.
But with time, mzazi ana soften. I think it was the pressures ya kukutafutia, maybe mko wengi, mko kama maybe 7 home. But eventually, some of us became friends to our parents with time. So I think all is not lost. You can still decide one step at a time. Talk to your teenagers. I do not have teenagers, so maybe I may not have so much input on this. But since I was a teenager, I think you should try and reach out. Kidogo,
be available.
Like, kidogo, kama ni kijana unamuulize, do you have a girlfriend? You know, a bit. And then you get them to open up. Kama ni baby girls, you can talk about their menses. Kama ameanza kupata acne, talk about that. And you know, become friends with them. And something else, msichoke kusoma. And by kusoma, I don't mean going back to school. Okay, if you can, the better, but read those 2 links about mothering, parenting, fathering. Try and read those things so that you can understand. Ukumbuke, your teenager, si wewe na siye. Yani, you're so different, because I look at my kids, how outspoken they are, and I'm like, was I like that at that age? No. So, be open-minded and try and broaden your scope of knowledge so that you may be able to empower your kid.
And it's available. And I also think it's good to understand that every parent has different wisdom. You know, every parent we have an inbuilt wisdom of parenting our children. So it's really unfortunate that we feel the need to tell you how to parent your child, and in terms of control. Like, if you live with, we know as moms that when our friends are coming to see us, they'll be like, hey, unapatia mtoto chakula baridi. Kwa nini unampatia chakula baridi? You know, and for you, you know why you're doing it, and you have the wisdom and knowledge, you know. I'll give an example with my 19-year-old. I started potty training her at 3 months. And a lot of people just couldn't understand why. But it's because I know scientifically it was easy. And each time at 3 months, I would place her there and do what I had learned to do. She would do. Right now we are 19 months. She's not using the Pampers.
For the men, kwanza, 19 months ni mwaka na
miezi saba.
Miezi
8 hapo saba.
So we've almost 2-year-old.
Yes. So for both of my kids, at 2 years we don't have Pampers in our house anymore.
Really?
Yes. So I'm hoping for her, because now we are out of Pampers at night, and even during the day. Now it's unless we're going somewhere. But that's something that I have chosen to do.
Where were you?
I have chosen to do. But a lot of people have a problem. Like, kwa nini una, you know. So let's respect each others' parenting styles, because parenting styles are different. I think we need to have a topic on that separately.
Yeah, we should.
But I think it's good for us to just understand that wisdom as a mother is
there's
very
no manual,
different.
There's no one book that says parent your kids like this.
Exactly. And a lot of times, even when we look at it biblically, we are told that, you know, your parent is a second God.
God on earth,
And that we don't refute that. But there are parents who really misrepresent God. You know, like, honestly speaking, you look at it and you're like, gosh, if you're my second God, if that is who God is, I don't want to be, you know, exactly. So it's all, there's a lot of, it's black and white. There's no gray area between it, but we need to have the respect as parents to other parents, no matter what.
I think sometimes the other people who will ask or give their opinions, it's not coming from a bad place. So I think we should learn how to communicate. So when I ask you, stakuliza, umeamua kutesa mtoto, you know, like, I won't bring it, I'll be like, wow, you put it in at 3 months. You know, like, why? I'll ask in a respectful way. But then there's nothing wrong with giving, you know, advice on. I think it's better if you start it, but don't come too strong as if you're criticizing the parent, because parenting is hard enough as it is. We should, I think, encourage each other, and when you're giving advice, it should be softly placed.
Yeah.
And
That's for sure.
Yeah, so I think the topic is very wide about parenting. Hatuwezi maliza leo. I think we have to have several segments.
Yeah.
And I'd like guys to give us your, questions, anything, your comments on this topic, and any specific topic you think under parenting that we need to discuss so that we can talk about it.
Yeah, and it's good that we have, tell us down below in the comments on what do you think your child's love language is, and we are going to really be candid. This is a candid talk.
Yeah.
So we're going to be real with our generation's parenting and everything that pertains to our age necessarily, so that we're able to grow each other. That's the whole point. We want to grow each other. Yeah. So yes.
Thank you so much for coming in. A lot of wisdom, a lot of advice. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to, have another session so that we can discuss parenting further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol.